So the Otome game has officially begun with this week's episode of Otome Game. We have reached a time skip where all the characters from the game are basically the age when all the death flags and horrible things could happen, and now Katarina is going to have to try her best to avoid it despite pretty much already avoiding it because she's already built a harem with all the potential characters who could either exile her, if not fully kill her. That's pretty glorious. If you can't tell, my voice is a little shot today, so do forgive me. Not much I can do. It's gonna probably take a week before it goes back to normal, so we'll just power through with this review. I have to say, I am loving the characters. I've said it since day one, and I'm going to keep saying it. All the characters are really good in this show. We get introduced to the cursed child, Sophia, who is adorable and precious, and just goddamn, society sucks. You have red eyes and they're different than anyone else's. You have white hair, you get called grandma, and just get basically blamed because the brother is pretty boy. Everyone loves him, thinks, oh, he's being held down by his horrible sister, when really that's the least of his concerns. Like, he cares more about his sister than he does these random people. As yes, he does have a sister's complex, it's been very much stated in this episode, but honestly, it feels like with each week, the show's getting progressively better and better, because the longer you see these characters, the longer you love listening to them, because their introductions at the very least are entertaining. Sure, you can sometimes look at a character being like, oh, this is an emotionally broken girl who's very scared to open up. That's a cliche, that's a trope, but clearly that's not who she's staying as, and once she starts being able to talk about love stories, which she never could do, but also feel like a friend is saying, not only do I want to associate with you, I think the things that are being said are called curses and grows, are beautiful additions to you. All you need is just one good moment to set a character in a completely unique direction, and that's all this show is basically built off of, is taking the idea of the tropey Otome game formula, but twisting it on its head, and yeah, building a giant-ass harem, but that doesn't mean it's a bad thing, because now we have this super dense character who is so oblivious to how she's already saved her life, and she has everyone, male, female alike, attached to her, wanting to dance with her, falling in love with her. Pretty much everyone is madly just in love with her. That's basically what's happened, and she doesn't understand that she's avoided it because she's been so lost in thought trying to plan through these routes, and that's glorious. I actually totally love the idea that we end the third episode with her now in the future with where the game takes place, and she's gonna get even more paranoid because she's no longer a kid. She's now an adult, and she's going to have to be able to work around all these little flags that she thinks is going to end her life, when really, I don't think they will. I was actually really impressed by the two new characters that we did get introduced to. The brother was definitely very quiet and mysterious, but I like how you could definitely tell how much he was caring for his sister, probably in a very similar way to how Keith is caring for his newfound sister. I mean, I have to say that moment towards the very end after the fiance kisses on the neck, he runs over and starts wiping it off, saying it was a bug bite. It's like, this girl is so dense, but you can't help but love her. That's what makes this entire show work, is that her persona is so lovable. Even when she does stupid things or she's super oblivious and ignorant, and you just want to say, are you serious? Do you not see what's happening? You can't help but just love it. Like that moment where Keith is basically staring at the other brother and how she's thinking, oh shit, is Keith like falling in love? We gotta get him out of here real quick. And really, he's thinking to himself, can you just like stop? Can you stop trying to win everyone over? Do you not have enough people in your harem at this point in time? Damn it, focus on your brother. It's basically what's happening, and it's glorious. I actually really like how, for the first 3 episodes, it's been rather simplistic by design, with simply like, okay, she's freaked out about this character. Oh, this reminds me of said character. I haven't played this route. I wonder if I can deal with it. Okay, as long as I'm nice to her, everything will be okay. She's basically been doing that as she's been gardening, trying to train her body and mind, or basically reading love stories that people think are stupid. That's basically what's happened over the past 3 weeks, but it's been nothing less than entertaining and exhilarating, especially because it's so easy to get bought up in her just logic of, okay, she's having a courtroom session, what the hell should we do? Everything's gonna go to shit, but realistically, you know, at this point in time, she's fine. She is not the character that she basically thinks she is. The horrible, scummy villain that she is now basically in the body of isn't that. She is an adorable person who has basically won the entire kingdom over at this point. She can go to a goddamn feast and stuff her face and look like a slob, and she's not getting exiled or killed because of that. I mean, granted, with how she's manipulated this, I mean, I'm sure she's in her own unique route where basically everyone loves her, and that's pretty much what's gonna happen. But if they do have some serious stuff down the line, it'll be really fun to see how she deals with it, because I mean, we're probably going to see so much just heartfelt and just really loving and just comedic scenes that it's going to be amazing to just see the moment where we're like, oh yeah, this is just another funny scene. It's like, oh shit, that's an actual death flag. Oh god, I was not expecting that. There's just a lot of possibility with the formula. And usually with a show like this, the fact that we have so many characters, supporting characters, and then they have parents, and then they have like friends, it's like, it is really hard to keep track of all the names. I'll get it by the end of the show, don't get me wrong. But that can usually mean there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It feels like they're trying to do a little too much, which means the characters aren't that well fleshed out, because it just feels like, well, you know, it kind of just feels like we're doing the same thing. We're not really having the time to expand here because we have 12 characters. But honestly, with this, it feels like, yeah, maybe not every character has had the time to flesh out yet, but you can tell they're going to, because as soon as they start interacting with her, immediately they're going to start changing their attitude, and we're going to see them flesh out as a person. A really great example is when you have the brothers basically talking about how, like, hey, this is my fiance, back off, don't get any ideas, and he's basically saying, like, what do you mean? Because he's just so ignorant to his own feelings that he just thinks he's hanging out with a friend, not realizing that he's probably also falling in love, which is why fiance would get a little bothered. That's a great example on how the character writing is being explored. It's not super obvious, it's not super, like, lengthy more times than not, but it does feel like it actually matters, which is amazing. I've complimented the background art a ton, but I think the thing that I love the most about the scenery is honestly the flowers. There's moments where, like, Katarina will just be, like, walking through a garden, and the way they detail, like, the roses and just, like, other flowers, it is so different. It's almost like Shaft in terms of, like, how they do a lot of their background detail. It makes the show pop so well because we're always in these bright and vibrant scenes, and then we have this just such unique background art that just lets these pretty normal character designs pop out and feel so distinguished and unique in this anime season. If this was like basic background art for a fantasy anime, I don't think we'd like the character designs as much as we do, because by having the character designs pretty much feel what an Otome game anime should look like, but having this super unique aesthetic for the background and just the overall world, it lets it pop out as if it's something new that we haven't seen, or at least haven't seen in quite a long time. To be honest, like, in terms of new anime, this is my favorite new anime of the season. I'm still gonna say Kaguya-sama is my favorite because that's just one of my favorite anime that has ever been made, but in terms of new stuff, this is definitely it. It just feels like there's never a dull moment. It doesn't feel like we have to go on an epic adventure. We don't have to go and see an epic character arc within 20 minutes. We can literally have a tea party and love book reading session, and that can be the most entertaining thing because the character reactions, especially with how they do faces and just like body reactions with how characters will slump over or get really excited. I mean, you could just look at that moment where she like rushes from her door when she hears she has company. The sentence isn't even finished, but you can tell how excited she is, and just goes to show how much a connection like that truly means for her. And little moments like that go a hell of a long way. It's super easy for a show like this to get very just stale, feeling like, okay, you have this super lovable character who everyone loves. Everyone loves Katarina, even if they think she's a little stupid or a little oblivious from time to time, which is why she gets called Bakarina. But at the same time, it doesn't feel like that's what's holding the show together. Any character is interesting to follow. The voice actors are clearly getting into their role, and it feels like not like we're just watching an Otome isekai, but rather this world exists. This is a real world just for our main character. She has experience with something that seems very identical, which is why she's so paranoid, which she doesn't even recognize that she's basically avoided all dooms at this point in time. Which doesn't mean she can't still have Doom. I mean, it will probably be more unique and not something that she's played or heard of. But still, it just makes it feel like it has such a unique identity that you just can't help but wish you had all the episodes to binge. And it's a damn good thing that all the episodes for this show are complete, because everything is getting postponed in the spring season. So it's nice to know at the very least that one of my favorite shows of this new season is going to be complete, and you know, Corona can't take this one away from us, which thank God, we need at least a couple to survive, so good thing for Bookworm in this, I guess. But this was a great episode. I think it's getting progressively better each week, and I just imagine by the time we leave the first season, everyone's gonna be like, God damn, was that amazing. I think at this point in time, like, obviously ignoring Katarina because she's the main character, she's the most interesting as of right now. In terms of side/supporting characters, Sophia and Keith are my favorites right now. I just like both of them. Keith being that, like, super protective brother, but clearly, like, having some extra feelings on the side there. And, like, just seeing him as an adult still just, like, going, like, you can't go anywhere without me, these people cannot be trusted. Or Sophia just being this character who was very just shunned away all her life, now finally having a friend and, just joining the harem, because that's basically what happens. If she gets talking, they're gonna join the harem. I feel like that's basically the rules in this universe, and no one can deny it, which is why characters like Keith are just like, can you just stop talking to people, please? You have enough people in your harem. Behave, please and thank you. I just love it. And I also love how there wasn't too much differences in terms of their personas when they did do that time skip. It felt like it was very organic, and it's just really nice to see that she's no longer really worried about dying or being exiled. It's more like she wants to keep her friends together, and that's really sweet. I think it's a good way to say, okay, yeah, it's still funny, but there is some heart there on why she wants to keep this going. It's not like she was a kid where she was like, I'll survive by myself. No, she wants to survive with her friends and family, and that's a really sweet hook. But as always, let me know your thoughts and opinions on Otome Game Episode 3 down in the comment section below. If you love it, you hate your favorite moment, and how excited are you for Episode 4, do let me know. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, share your support, remember to hit that subscribe button if you have been new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.